Hello, children. Today we will start with the lesson Tourism and History. Now, what is tourism? Tourism is traveling to visit places and distant regions for a specific purpose. Now, this tradition of traveling is very old, and people used to travel for various reasons like pilgrimage, local fairs and festivals, education, trade, etc. In the past, there have been famous travelers. Let us look at some of them. The first one is Gautam Buddha. The Buddhist literature tells us that he traveled to several cities in ancient India for preaching. Buddhist monks were ordained not to stay at one place, but to keep traveling continuously to various places. Jain monks, sadhus also used to travel constantly. Now, why were these monks traveling constantly? Because they wanted to spread their teaching or spread their religion to other parts. That is why they used to continuously travel. Yuan Shuang, the Chinese monk, traveled to India in 630 CE. In the medieval period, Sant Namdev, Sant Eknath, Guru Nanak, Ramdas Swami traveled extensively in India. Benjamin of Tudela is known as the first European traveler or discoverer. He was born in Spain. During the period of 1159 to 1173 CE, he traveled to France, Germany, Italy, Greece, Syria, Arabia, Egypt, Iraq, Persia, India, and China. He maintained diaries of the accounts of his travels. Marco Polo, the Italian traveler of the 13th century, introduced Asia, especially China, to Europe. He stayed in China for 17 years and wrote about the flora and fauna, social life, culture, and trade systems of Asia. Ibn Battuta, the traveler of the 14th century, took the world on a virtual travel of the Islamic world. He was traveling for 30 years. He had resolved not to travel twice on the same route. His accounts are helpful in understanding the medieval history and social life. Gerardus Mercator of 16th century was a cartographer. He is known for creating a world map and globe of the earth. His work proved to be very useful for navigation around the world. Cartographer is someone who makes maps. Now, the name of Thomas Cook is also very important when it comes to tourism. He organized a trip by railway from Leicester to Loughborough for about 600 people. He was also successful in organizing a round trip of Europe. Eventually, he started a travel agency selling tourist tickets. This early venture of Thomas Cook opened doors for the development of modern tourism. The tradition of traveling was prevalent in India from ancient times. Vishnubat Godse wrote down the accounts of his journey from Maharashtra to Ayodhya and then back to Maharashtra. It is published in a book, Maza Pravas, that is my journey. Vishnu travelled during the Indian War of Independence in the year 1857. He was the eyewitness of many events which happened at that point of time. His accounts give detailed descriptions about various incidents. Here we see that there is an emphasis on the life of Lakshmi Bai, the Queen of Jhansi. We also get to know the nature of Marathi language of the 18th century. And that is why this book is one of the important sources of history of that period. Now, let us look at different types of tourism. Now, one's desire to visit national and international monuments, places of historical importance, or places which have natural beauty, places which are known for handicrafts or pilgrim centers, all this promotes tourism. Tourists all over the world wish to visit natural and man-made sites. When we're talking about natural sites, we're talking about maybe beaches or jungles. And when we're talking about man-made sites, maybe we can talk about caves or dams or something which is built by man. Tourism can be divided into local tourism, interstate tourism, international tourism, religious tourism, historical tourism, health tourism, science tourism, agro-tourism, sports tourism, tourism based on special events. Let us look at each of these types. The first one is local and interstate tourism. When a person travels within one's own country, this kind of tourism is known as local and interstate tourism. Now, this type of tourism is easy because you might not face difficulties related to language or maybe currency, or you might not need additional documents. Again, this problem related to language and all is not applicable to all the places. For example, people who live in North India might find it difficult to visit some place in South India because the language is different. However, when it comes to currency, we know currency is same throughout the country, right? The next type of tourism is international tourism. International tourism happens when someone visits another country. Now, this visit can be for any number of reasons. Nowadays, we find that international tourism has become very easy because transportation options are more. It is easy to travel to different countries. The documentation required, the problems related to languages are less. Next is historical tourism, when people visit a particular place because of its historical importance. That kind of tourism is called historical tourism. Religious tourism. Now, we visit places of religious importance for our own community or for different communities. This type of tourism is called religious tourism. In this context, the constructions undertaken by Ahilyabai Holkar spending from her personal funds are noteworthy because she used her own funds to make traveling easier, to provide good amenities on the pilgrim routes like Chardham Yatras and Bara Jyotirlingas. The next type of tourism is geographic tourism. Now, in this type, it involves visiting places to observe special geographic features of a region. It includes various natural and animal sanctuaries, places like Valley of Flowers in Uttarakhand, maybe various beaches, unique geographical wonders like the crater lake at Lonar. All these are examples of geographic tourism. The next tourism is health tourism. Now, some people they travel to another country or another place because they find that maybe that place offers a better health service or it provides a treatment which might be expensive in their own country or might not be available in their own country. India, with reference to this, is comparatively cheaper. The health services available in India are comparatively cheaper and yet of good standard. Hence, many foreigners we see prefer to come to India. India is also a tropical country where ample sunlight is available throughout the year. This attracts tourists from countries with cold climate to India. Availability of facilities for yoga training and therapies based on Ayurveda is one more reason to want to visit India. The next type of tourism is agro-tourism. In agro-tourism, what happens is people from urban areas visit rural life or they visit areas which have agricultural production to understand how agriculture works. It is also possible that maybe a farmer wants to visit a specific place to learn more about the technology that is available in terms of agriculture. That can also happen. The next type is sports tourism. Sports tourism was developed in the 20th century. Various sports events organized on international level like Olympics, Wimbledon, World Chess Championship, international cricket tournaments, etc. All these give rise to tourism. Tourism based on special events. Now we see a lot of festivals are organized relating to a specific theme. Maybe it can be a book exhibition, or it can be some kind of conference related to maybe literature, or it can be a movie festival. All these promote tourism. So when people travel for a specific event, this type is called tourism based on special events. Now let us look at development of tourism. Now an important issue or an important point in the development of tourism is providing guidance to national as well as international tourists about different aspects of actual travel. What is the proper social conduct during the tour which is expected from the visitors or the travelers, and during the stay at the destination places. Now, some things that need to be taken care of to ensure development of tourism is to ensure safe transport, provide security to the tourist, and give amenities, maybe like accommodation, washroom, which should be good and should be up to international standards. It also is very important to pay special attention to the needs of the handicapped tourist. It is important to take primary precautions to preserve the historical heritage sites because these sites attract tourists. So we have to take care of them. We should make sure that we protect these sites. Now, for example, vandalizing or defacing the heritage monuments and sites. All this should be avoided. We should avoid writing on walls or carving on trees, painting on ancient monuments. All this should not be done. It is very essential for the tourists that pamphlets, guides, history books about the tourist site should be available in their own language. Hence, literature should be made available in various languages. It would be helpful if the taxi drivers are trained to converse in more than one languages. They may also be trained as tourist guides. Conservation and preservation of heritage. Our country has a very rich collection of historical sites dating to ancient, medieval, and modern period. It also is blessed with abundance of nature. Heritage of any country can be divided into natural heritage and cultural heritage. Cultural heritage means the man-made heritage site. There are some sites in India which are globally known, like the Taj Mahal at Agra, Jantar Mantar Observatory at Jaipur, the rock-cut caves at Ajanta, Verul and Gharapuri, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Railway Terminus in Maharashtra. All these are internationally well-known sites. Khas Plateau in Maharashtra is located in the Western Ghats, which is a World Natural Heritage Site. Tourists from all over the world wish to visit World Heritage Sites. Foreign tourists come in large numbers to visit these sites. It makes us feel proud when an Indian heritage site is declared as a World Heritage Site. However, when we visit such places, we often feel disappointed. Why is it? Because we find that these areas or these sites have been vandalized or they have been defaced. How? Because people write their names with charcoal, they draw pictures, they destroy these sites. It affects the image of our country. Now, to preserve the heritage sites, we need to resolve that I shall strive to maintain the cleanliness of heritage sites. I shall not do anything which will result in vandalizing of any historical site. Professional opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry. Tourism and hospitality is an industry which has a potential to create a lot of employment opportunities. That is, if it is managed professionally and properly. A good number of opportunities of employment are available in the tourism and hospitality industry. The country, which is a tourist destination, begins to receive money even before a tourist actually arrives at the airport or inside the country. How is it? because the person who's traveling from outside the country, he has to pay for his visa, he has to pay for his travel. All these things, they bring in money. Now, when we go to a tourist site, we have to stay in hotels, we have to pay for food, we pay for guides, translators, we buy souvenirs, we buy books. All this contributes to the growth of the economy. Markets around these tourist sites, they also develop. Hence, the local handicrafts and cottage industry, they also began to develop. The demand for locally processed food items and ethnic handicrafts increases. It results in better income for the local artisans, business people, and wage earners. Tourism in Maharashtra. Now, Maharashtra is a state which is blessed with rich heritage. The rock-cut caves, the paintings and sculptures of Ajanta, Verul, Kharapuri, the pilgrim centers, the hill stations, the sanctuaries. Sanctuaries means the areas which are a protected reserve for animals. All these are important tourist centers in Maharashtra. The Maharashtra Tourism Development Corporation was set up in 1975. It helped in the development of tourism in Maharashtra. Now, this corporation or this body has provided facilities of tourist hotels at 47 places. Together, these hotels can accommodate more than 4,000 tourists. Many private entrepreneurs are also providing hospitality services to tourists. Now, there is a village called Bhilar near Mahabaleshwar, which boasts of natural beauty and sweetness of strawberry. With this place is also known as Village of Books. Now, why is this? Every household in this village maintains a library of its own for the tourists to enjoy. Maharashtra state government has implemented this scheme with a view to accelerate the reading culture movement for the reader tourist to enjoy the beauty of Marathi literature enriched by the works of old and new authors and saints. Now, here you will find books like which related to themes like biographies, autobiographies, fiction, poetry, literature, specific articles or books written by women, literature on sports, literature for kids, etc. Now there is a type of tourism called cultural tourism. This includes activities like visiting educational institutes of repute, trying to get glimpse of local culture, history and traditions, visiting historical monuments at a place, trying to appreciate the achievements of local people, and also participating in the local festivals of dance, music, etc. Children, now there is a concept called heritage walks. Now, what do we mean when we say heritage walk? Now, in heritage walk, children, we find that a group of people will walk around a particular place and they will talk about its history, point out things which are important or are different. To go on a tour for visiting historical places is known as heritage walks. One can experience the thrill of being part of history by participating in heritage walks. India has a rich history. Every region of India is full of historical places. The Heritage Walk, which is organized in the city of Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Pune, are very well known. Heritage walks are important because they can encourage people to support projects like conservation and preservation of historical monuments, to collect authentic information about them, and to publish it through various media. Residences of renowned citizens who have passed away are also part of heritage. In some cities, blue plaques with the names and other relevant information of such citizens are placed on their residences as part of heritage scheme. Now, children, in the state of Maharashtra, you must have heard about hill stations in Mahabaleshwar and Panchgani. Yes, thousands of tourists go to visit these hill stations. These tourists are accompanied by guides who provide information about the sites which they are going to. At some places, we also see photographers who are present to click pictures for the tourist. Horsekeepers provide horses for horse rides and horse cart rides. It is the local people who are engaged in these activities and they earn good money for these services. In short, tourism becomes a major source of their livelihood. So, children, with this, we complete explanation for this lesson. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and take care.